Cerakoting firearms in and of itself is not difficult. You get your equipment set up, you're good to go. However, you have to be licensed as a federal firearms licensee to coat firearms, to coat serialized parts. They're even starting to push toward requiring a license if you're dealing with non-serialized gun parts, because you're technically gunsmithing. If you're taking in a slide, if you're taking in a gun component, you are working on a part of a firearm. That, whether you agree with that or not, it really doesn't matter too much. Technically right now, under the law, you're fine, but know that they're pushing that direction. Now, that said, if you're going to be doing serialized parts, or a part that should be serialized, like a P80 lower before they started serializing them, or something, I guess 3D printed is an option, but any of those things, you really need to understand the requirements. So first and foremost, there are two types of licenses that people who Cerakote usually have. The most common is going to be an 07, which is a manufacturer's license. And that sounds weird, right? Manufacturing, you're not manufacturing, you're Cerakoting, you're applying an aesthetic finish. There's reasons to that, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the other kind of license is an 01, just a dealer's license. Both licenses are good for 3 years. They just allow you to do slightly different things. 01 can literally only Cerakote for customers, period. Cannot take a gun out of your inventory and coat it for display. Cannot take a gun in from a customer as your own. You can't buy a gun or acquire a gun from a customer, coat it, and then resell it for more money. Cannot do that as an 01 because you're no longer gunsmithing. You are remanufacturing or further manufacturing a firearm. And that's where the 07 really comes into play. So an 07 is a manufacturer's license. And the reason that they're really pushing all Cerakoters to the 07 is because of the durability of Cerakote. So even more basic than that, if you are a licensed dealer, technically, if you do anything to modify a new gun to increase its value, you are supposed to be licensed as an 07. That can be something as absurd as adding a red dot or a scope to a gun. Technically, if you're an 01, you cannot do that. You can sell it as a kit and then help the customer put it on there after they've acquired it, but you cannot have that gun kitted up, ready to go, and sell it out the door because you've enhanced the value of that gun. You are no longer selling that gun as it came to you. You have modified it. Now, with Cerakote, it's the same principle, except they consider Cerakote to actually enhance the durability of a firearm. So you are further manufacturing that firearm. If it's new and never been in commerce, you are further manufacturing it. You are enhancing it. You're making it better. So you have to be a manufacturer to do that. If I want to take a gun, say I've had a slow week and I've got 3 Glock 43Xs, and I want to take one of them and I want to coat it. I can do that because I'm licensed as an 07. So I can tear that gun down. I can Cerakote it however I want to Cerakote it. I can engrave it. I can do whatever the heck I want to that gun and then put it back together and sell it. No problem. If I want to acquire a gun from a customer and do the same thing, I can do that with one caveat. I have to add my marks to that gun somewhere for traceability purposes. And they do have rules on that. It's got to be in metal and it's got to be on the frame where the serial number's at. So doing that with Glocks, you got to somehow squeeze it in where the serial number's at. So I'm probably not going to go down that route anytime soon because that's just like ridiculous. If you're improving a gun, even if you just think it's aesthetics, if you're improving a gun, you have to be licensed as an 07. And so what that means, say you're an 01 and you have excess inventory. Say you've got 10 43Xs and they're just sitting there. You cannot send them out to an 07 to get Cerakoted because they've never entered commerce. They're brand new guns. And you as an 01 cannot conduct a manufacturing activity. You could technically sell those guns to the other dealer. They could do their thing to it, their 07 Cerakote work to it, and then you can buy them back from that dealer. But that's even kind of a gray area. I would probably maybe sell them those 10 and then buy 10 different ones that are already done because you can buy something that an 07 has further manufactured. But you cannot send something out to have it done. It's a weird little nuance. It's a gray area, and it's hard to get your head around because it just does not make sense. But it is what it is, guys. You have to be licensed to buy and sell, period. You have to be licensed. You have to be licensed to do Cerakote work. You have to be. And the best license is going to be an 07. Even if you don't plan on actually manufacturing anything, you want to be an 07 because that lets you do more stuff to guns. It lets you sell Cerakoted guns to other dealers. It lets you Cerakote new guns from inventory. And it lets you make display pieces out of your inventory. You can't do that if you're in 01. You're stuck just with customer projects. As much as we hate the rules, they are what they are, and we have to follow them, or they're just going to keep making more and making it harder for us to do our jobs. We've had enough of that lately.